Hi VC, this is Bev here, Clarkovision, and thanks for stopping by to my entry to Jeff Kempin's latest contest. Jeff Kempin, if you don't know him, I will leave a link below to his channel. He is one of the VC's class acts. He's a great guy, he's great fun. He does a lot of interesting videos. Quite a wide taste in music. He even has a player that plays 78s, so he's got a stack of 78s as well that he's working through at the moment. He does his spin zones, tells you about the records that he's listening to, what he thinks. But yeah, he's just an all-round nice guy, and he is running a contest because he's celebrating his 70th spin zone, which he has just done. And he's also just crossed over 700 subscribers, so he figured joining these two things together, the number 7 link, and he would just put that down as his contest kind of name. It's the 7700 contest. And I am just wanting to put an entry in here just to support his channel, and just have a bit of fun with it. So here we go. It's fairly straightforward. Jeff's only asked 3 questions, and one of them doesn't even have to be music related. But yeah, so we'll just get into this, and I think you have to make sure your video. He hasn't put that in his instructions. I'm just glancing down. I've got his, rules and stuff here. But I'm sure he said you have to make your video last more than 5 minutes. So that shouldn't be a problem for me. We're already 2 minutes and I'm nearly halfway. So, so I think we'll just get started on that. And so question 1 Jeff's asking is, which album did you anticipate the most its release from last year and were disappointed by it? Now there's 3 I can think of, but the one I was most anticipating and most excited about would be this one. And it's Blind Guardian's Twilight Orchestra, Legacy of the Darklands. Now, I am a fan of the band Blind Guardian. They are fairly new to me, Blind Guardian, but I've just recently got into them in the last couple of years, and I learned that this thing was coming out. And I was quite excited about it. I thought this is going to be good. I had watched a couple of their build-up videos that they'd released on YouTube about it, and this sounds great, etc., blah, blah, blah. And so I ordered this. I also ordered the earbook version, which has CDs, 4 CDs in it, and a book of the artwork. The artwork is great on Blind Guardian related stuff. And when it came out, bought the album, put it on, and I was disappointed, simply because I think I was expecting it to be more like Blind Guardian's own band, their own catalogue. But this is, when it says Twilight Orchestra, it is exactly on that. It is a full-blown professional orchestra with all these musicians involved, and singers, etc., etc. And I think I'd mentioned in my vinyl tag video that on this, there's not even a single guitar note that I could detect anywhere. There is no guitar whatsoever. Now, I was expecting a guitar to feature somewhere. I think I had in mind for this, I was expecting it to be more closer to something like the Avantasia projects, but not as more on the orchestra side, but just elements of the Avantasia ideas. This is certainly not Blind Guardian as in Blind Guardian either. I mean, Blind Guardian are classed as a symphonic power metal band. And even on Discogs, they have this one listed separately to Blind Guardian's own catalogue. They've got Blind Guardian, and this doesn't feature, this features under its own Blind Guardian's Twilight Orchestra. So it is not heavy metal. It is definitely more of a classical orchestra style album. And it's nice to listen to, it's good, it's great music. But if you're wanting some rock and metal, this is not what you're going to put on. It's more relaxing, something that you could maybe chill out to more. So it was a bit of a disappointment for me because it was not quite what I was expecting, but perhaps that's my own fault for just maybe putting two together and coming up with five, perhaps. However, I'm still pleased to have it. It's two of the Blind Guardian chaps that are involved. I'm sorry about the glare, it's in one of these shiny gatefold sleeve things, but yeah, you can sort of see the artwork is amazing. But yeah, so that was a bit of a letdown. Question 2. Tell us something about yourself that you've never revealed before in a video. Jings. Well, I could say one or two things right enough, but I kind of wasn't too sure. The most basic, I don't even know if maybe I have said it already, but I don't know, but I'm going to say it now anyway. The most basic is I can't swim. I never learned to swim properly, so I don't tend to not visit swimming pools and water theme parks on holiday and stuff, even though I sometimes wish I could, but it just never happened for me. But something a little bit more, I wasn't really sure whether I wanted to talk about this on video, to be honest. It's sometimes a bit hard to talk about, but I have struggled throughout my life with chronic depression and anxiety. Clinical depression and followed by chronic anxiety. And these two conditions have plagued me throughout my life since the beginning of the 90s, really. And I don't know if a traumatic experience can trigger these things off, which I think certainly it did in my case, which I don't really think I want to go into, to be honest. But because of that, I have struggled quite a bit at various times in my life throughout. At the moment, I'm pleased to say that I can pretty much function normally. There are things in life, and perhaps there's a place in life where I kind of wish I was, but I'm not, sort of thing. For example, I still live at home with my parents. I'm in my early 40s, I still live at home, and that's partly due to my anxiety and depression issues that I've had over the time. It's also partly due to finances. It is not cheap to get your own house these days. And I guess I'm fortunate in that I've had a good relationship with my parents, which is kind of why I'm still here. So, and it works. For the moment it works. So I guess that's what I wanted to say about myself. In brief, I could be here forever talking in depth about all that, but it's kind of a, it's a subject that you could spend hours on. But so that's question 2. And question 3 is, where do you see your collection going in 2020? Well, all I can say about it, I see my collection growing. That's the one thing I can see about it in 2020. I don't have any specific plans for what direction it would go in. Me being mostly into hard rock and heavy metal, that's my main area. I look to expand on growing my collection of a few certain bands I want to fill out the collections for. I want to try and collect as much Pretty Maids, a complete Running Wilds collection. I'm hoping they're going to have a new album coming out maybe later this year, because they just released their latest EP in December last year, which is fantastic. But there's a couple of holes there. And classic Def Leppard era, you know, the Steve Clark era, basically Def Leppard 1980s. I have a huge collection of stuff from that era, and I just want to maybe keep working to fill in the odd gap here and there with that. The problem with that is now a lot of the stuff I want, it can be pricey, but you know, that's part of the fun of collecting stuff. So I just expect it to grow a little bit more so on the rock and metal side. I do into quite a lot of the new wave of traditional heavy metal bands, some of the newer bands that are coming up that have been out. Canada are producing a lot of good bands. There's a lot of good guys coming out of Sweden, Germany, Finland, you know, even the UK's got some good new up and coming metal bands. Some of the classics are still releasing good stuff. I mean, Tigers of Pantang and Diamond Head both released brilliant albums last year, and they've from the old new wave of British heavy metal. So it's just a case of seeing what's out there and just collecting. There might be the odd album I buy that's not rock and metal, you know, because I do like other styles of music, you know, so we shall see. So that is that. Hopefully that's okay. And congratulations, Jeff, on your 70th Spin Zone and your 700 plus subscribers. You do deserve it. You've got a very interesting channel, and I think that's about it for now. As I say, Jeff's link is below. If you've not subscribed, I recommend you check out his channel, and I shall see you all in another video. Bye just now.